Gosh darn Tamers. I was not expecting to see LM7 at all for at least a while since we had RB2 coming out, but nonetheless this morning it dropped, and I want to say it's looking much better than LM6 is, just because LM6 had some weird choices, but these are actually pretty cool. And when I first saw these, I was like, yeah, Dino Beamon does need an alternate art, remembering that Dino Beamon also has an alternate art, so this was kind of a weird one. So, for those who haven't seen it, we have the Omnimon Ultra Beat from EX4. EX4 is notoriously hard to get hold of, just because a lot of places put it for sale. Not last Christmas, the Christmas before, because they just didn't like it, they couldn't really use it or get rid of it quick enough. People were chasing the ruin modes. I think I brought like an extra 4 or 5 boxes. I think I bought like one extra ruin mode, so I have a lot of bulk from EX4. But Omnimon Ultra B has started to come up more often in these Omnislop, DNA decks, Gas. You know, they are here basically to play that damn game, and to play that damn game they will. We also have Omnimon from BT13, which a lot of people have asked for this because the security Gallantmon was an issue at one point. Now we had the promo. It seems very fluid in the marketplace. It's actually helped filter it through. I think you can pick up copies now for like £5 or £6, making it a lot better than it was, where I think at one point the cheapest copies were like 25 to 30. So it has helped out quite a bit. And Omnimon has sort of stayed around the £20 mark. If this brings it down to like 10 to 15, I think you might see more people playing Royal Knights, which, depending on the statement, might make you cringe or not, because I know a lot of people don't really like Royal Knights as it is at the moment. Uplink, following the trend of having one really weird also art card for this set, it has to be apparently Uplink. I don't really mind this too much because, as you've seen, I want to try and get more into Appmon, so I'll possibly buying up as much of these as I can. Also, it is a common, so it never really had a foil before, so now we actually have access to a foil card, and it goes kind of hard, man. And the Dino Beam on here also goes really hard. I'm not too sure why this was a alternate art reprint in the set, but it looks beautiful, like really, really, really beautiful. I know it was getting brought out a little bit, but at one point these were like 50 cents to like $1. I think you could pick these up for like 60p at one point. And you know, Rurple came and went. It was like, oh, I'm really cool, and then just did nothing. Unfortunately, Rurple is a lot more bricky than Imperialist, but we do get the Magenta booster later on, which might help things out when we get LM6, which might be the only good thing in LM6, depending on who you talk to. So, yeah, these are really cool, interesting. I'm looking forward to actually grab myself a couple of these, even if it's just for the promos that we're going to see now. Alexandrite, Malachite, and Obsidian. Very interesting stuff, as a lot of people have seen already. If you are a massive Tyrannomon fan, Alexandrite just comes in and basically cracks some jaws. It's a red and green searcher, which is the two major colours for these decks. Obviously, we've seen lots of blacks and purples, but red and green are normally the two other colours that you see on these cards, so they generally will differentiate that way. We have Malachite, or Malachite, depending on who you talk to. This is a yellow and blue card, so for those of you who play a lot of Angels, or as you can see on the front here, if you are playing Shakumon, and people are speculating because of Time Stranger and BT23, we might see some more cards for those decks. So there's a chance, especially because Armadillomon is in Hacker Memory, and possibly I think we've also seen it going to be in Time Stranger, so there's a good chance that we might actually get some new cards for these decks, so people are going to be happy to see those. And then Obsidian is black and purple, which makes sense because black and purple's been getting a lot of pairing love lately, as they are both kind of like the weird destruction colours, so it makes a lot of sense that they are kind of getting mixed together. But I think the red and green one's going to be the most popular going forwards. We also have new trainings, and a lot of people are up in arms if these are good for the game. I think everyone realises they are good. So for those of you who haven't seen, while you don't have a treadmill training in the battle area, you can ignore this colour's requirements. If you don't have a sprint dash, you can ignore this colour's requirements. And if you don't have a imagine training, you can ignore the colour requirements. The key to these, though, is it lets you look at the top 2 colours of your deck, and you can add any colour of the 2 available. So for the treadmill, it's black and red. For treadmill, it's yellow and black. For sprint, it's green and red. And for imagine, it is purple and blue. Now, treadmill and imagine are generally 2 colours that are seen together, like yellow and black, purple and blue. Besides, I think, like, the weird multicolor hybrid deck, I don't really know off the top of my head any green and red decks. You can tell me if I'm wrong somewhere, but I don't really think that red and green is a color combination that we see a lot of, so that one might be the one that's a bit awkward. Maybe down the line we'll see a deck that's very good and has to use both of these together. I think the only one I could think of off the top of my head right now is maybe Atmon decks, because they are kind of like the mixed, like, choppy colours, so we'll see. But yeah, these and trainings are really, really good. And then the new promos are fairly good and interesting for what we see what they're going to get used for. Then we have what we've been seeing recently, which is essentially, hey, look, these promos came out now, essentially. If you didn't get them, here's like a way for them with like new foiling textures. Some people like them, some people don't. I'm indifferent. If you get the winners ones, use the winners ones. But if not, then yeah, you know, these are going to be basically bulk down the line. And if you look at the price of some of these already, these are like bulk prices. I think like Doraemon's already like 20p. I think the Gigi, despite being one of the best decks in the format, which is ready to get hit possibly at the recording of this like in 12 hours time, will probably still like stay around like the pound it is. Sagittarius for like the winners is like 20p. Crit Armor is like 20p. Red Trigger, Royal Base, both very cheap cards. Demi V and Dimitri are seeing some play currently, or some testing, because Dimitri here is going to possibly be very good in in EX. He's going to be good in EX11, respectively, because we're expecting to get more stuff from EX11 for this deck, because it should be the deck that sees its level 7 in EX11. Pheemon is good currently in the new All-Force support. Tweetmon should be good, he says, in Atmon stuff, because it's generic when linking draw 1 for a cost of 1. You can't get better than that really for a generic just linking a card. Apollo Ace, in my testing, it seems very good in the Grace Nova version of Galaxy. Again, I think we need to see if we can get a new Galaxy top end coming in either BT23 or BT24. But as of my current testing, fairly good card, and it is keeping a little bit of a price point. Bakibon seems to be a very good card as well. People are saying like it is being useful in the deck, especially for the ghost stuff and its liberators. Again, when we get more support for this deck, I think it's in BT23, he says. And if it is, we might actually see ourselves actually getting a good wave of support, and basically going forwards. If we can get a second Necromon that just does something slightly different, then I think the deck will be in a good position. And then the Wicked God emerges. A lot of people say how good this is. Prices say otherwise, but at the end of the day, it's not exactly a deck that's in a lot of play, because it's a very awkward deck to sort of get going, especially in a format that just wants to constantly just wipe you off the face of the earth. Now, here's where the fun stuff comes. We have a Amono from BT10. Now, I've seen already a comment on the official Twitter page. Why is he getting a reprint? Where's the promo School Nightmon? I will say, personally speaking, I think the reason why we're getting and not Skull is because Skull is coming in RB2. Because we know RB2 always comes out in March. So these two sets could kind of link together, and that could be where we see things going forwards. Savior Hookmon. An interesting card to put in here. I think they just wanted to like do a red card and add another Dimitri. I'm not really sure why they did Savior. I think it's a decent card to have, and I think it's very good just to give people a bit more support. I think it's one of those cards that may have got like a rarity bump because it was a common back in the day, and so they basically said, like, look, we know the deck can be blinged out a little bit. We need to give a little bit more love to our good friends over there in the Jesmon section. Here's a nice red card. And it looks nice, to be fair. It looks nice on a full red border. Mega Studio X Antibody has seen some play in quite a few different decks, so I can honestly see why it's here. It's nice to actually see it getting a little bit more love, even though the X Antibody version of the deck itself hasn't really seen much play, even though it seems to be a very interesting deck. Switemon, also one of those cards we mentioned earlier where it's now getting itself a rarity bump. I will be looking to pick a few of these up because Switemon is a very good card, and at the end of the day, I can't say no to extra draw power in a shiny green baby. Dimitrimon from BT21, I think it was uncommon. I don't think it was a rare. Can't really see from the imagery here. But it's nice to, again, have nice rarity bumps for cards that need to get them. This for me is going to be a pickup because I want to have this anyway. I'm buying 2 boxes, so I should get a playset of everything anyway. So I don't need to get any more of those. But those Switemons, really good. Wind Guardians is getting an upgrade. It was a BT21 card, which means, unfortunately, unlike the EX traded sets, it didn't get the shiny borders, so basically it's just correcting itself. Basically, it's getting a nice upgrade here, and I can't really blame it. The deck itself is really good. I do hope that we see the Vidramon and the Phlegismon, because they obviously are here in the artwork, so it'd be nice to see them somewhere further down the line. There are a few top ends and middles that we haven't got currently for all of the decks, I believe, so it'd be nice if EX12 and go back to it and go like, hey, here's like some pieces for all the decks, and plus like the new deck, which will be like Metal Empire or Virus Busters, depending on how they want to do it. That'd be really interesting. Now, these two cards I think was on everyone's lips, especially one of these cards, when we saw the Heroine set come out. Now, Mastiamon Ace coming out is a big deal, because a lot of people couldn't get these, and a lot of people weren't willing to pay £15 to £20 for them. So now it's going to come out in this set. Price is going to tank, but you might see these being like the decent versions to pick up. But again, as we normally get 2 of each per box, it seems to be a good place that if you buy the 2 Heroine boxes, you buy 2 of these boxes for like £100, you basically got the most expensive cards, and you're laughing. Also, because people have generally been liking this deck because of the new support from BT22, Diaboromon from EX6 seems to be coming as well. So, if you've been having issues and you've not been able to pick these up, and they are now, I think, also like £20, your prayers have been answered. So, for those of you out there who need to get Diaboromon, March might be your answer for a lot of things. And again, we might see some more stuff coming in RB2 that might help out some of these decks as well. Dracomon from, I think this was BT14 promo stuff. It's getting a reprint. I feel like this already had another reprint, where it had like a secondary first reprint. Yeah, I think it already has had a reprint, but it's having another reprint. It's in the dual coloured borders, which is quite nice, and it's going to be quite nice to pick up. I've not really seen much play of the Examon stuff since we had it in BT21, but again, I just think it's been such a weird format where ha ha, you can delete a lot of things. It's like basically smothered the format to be a bit more reserved. So yeah, I think maybe once we get some of those everything gets destroyed decks out of the window, it might be a case of, hey, Examon might come back. Now, something a little bit more interesting, Ariza and Shoto promos that a lot of people didn't get hold of because they were very limited over here in the UK. Europe had like a spattering of them, and then America, I think, also had like a weird thing with them because I think there were event promos at one point, as well as like store championship promos or like store regional promos. Obviously, we've already had Shoto reprinted twice since then, with the D-Storage and the store Evo Cup. Evo Cup, was it? Because I think you can get him. Yeah, you got basically the 4 line, didn't you? Just the level 5 you didn't get hold of. No, I think you can get all of them, couldn't you? But these are coming back. Ariza was becoming a problem because a lot of people liked the promo of this because of the Shumon. This is probably where me and Dread don't see eye to eye. We both love the puppet deck. It's just that I don't think the Shumons are great, but I can see why he would like it if you want to have a more controlling variant in your rookies. So if this does get whacked out on your opponent's turn, on play you get a Shumon out that maybe gives you blocker, or maybe gives something screw attack -1, so you can't finish an attack, and will stop basically the game from going to overtime. But all in all, this is all of the stuff that we saw, and I'm super happy with it. It seems like it's a great set to pick up, especially if you need the Alta Bees, especially if you need the Omnimons, especially if you want the Atmon link, the Dino Beamon SR. Promos seem really good here. The guaranteed promos that you really want, they seem really good. Some of this seems like bulk. Like the Gigi is probably going to be good unless it gets hit tomorrow. Demi Vemon's going to be good. Dimitri seems to be really good. Tweetmon's going to be good. Apollomon's going to be good. Bakemon's going to be good. The issue for I have is like you've got to try and figure out like what's the future format going to be like. Is Diaboromon and his Master Ace going to be enough in the future when we get to March? You know, there's a few sets between now and then. It's going to be like BT25 and EX11-ish. You know, are these decks going to be viable? Atmon, I feel like it's going to have support for a while, so I think having Switemon getting the upgrade, because I think we all know that it's the best baby, basically, and Tweetmon is going to be good just for generic draw power. The 2 Dimitris might be sort of a hint at, like, hey, look, we're going to basically power up this deck, so, you know, we're going to make sure you got promos at hand. Apollo is going to be good, especially if the Olympic 13 or 11 are going to be, like, a fantastic deck. You want to pick these up because it could basically be the new Seven Great Demon Lords or Royal Knights. And then Bakemon again is going to be good. Good old Becky. He's going to be good because, for instance, let's just say, hey, look, it's going to be like one of the better Liberated decks when we get finished with it in EX11. Because that's the thing I'm kind of worried about, is we get to EX11, they basically go like, this is going to be the end of most of your support now for Liberators. We've had it for 2 years. We know you've enjoyed it, but we're done. Now it's Elysian's turn. So yeah, I can imagine Elysian having like a little bit of spotlight in the future. But some of the premium stuff Bandai comes out with is really good. I just wish they'd come out with like another like D-storage kind of thing, or more accessories. Like maybe if they bring out their own dice. I know we're getting it in the big boy set at Christmas, but I want more. But what's your thoughts, everyone? Let me know if you're going to pick one of these up or two. I'm going to pick at least 2 of these up. And I'm going to try and hunt then for like more swipe ones. So, catch you guys next time. Mwah! Peace out and goodbye. And I'll catch you